Hello, everybody, and a happy holidays to everyone. It's Merry Christmas here in the Tank Mechanic Simulator Garage. And today we are going to be fixing this lovely little Panzer III. It's a 3M, and it's got quite a lot needing doing, if I'm honest. A lot of parts missing, and everything needs a good refurbish. So we are going to be doing that. So to begin with, let's start by taking everything apart, because I think we're gonna need to do that. So take the turrets off here so that we can get into that hull, and I'm just gonna move the steps just a little bit closer. It is further away because we were working on the Tiger before, which of course needed a little bit more height. And we've got all of our tools here as well. We got our rust removal, which is what we're probably going to be starting off with today. So I'm going to begin by just kind of taking all of the rust off of the turret here as much as possible. And a lot of little parts in here, so there's quite a bit that we haven't got, so we'll have to repair some of these things, I think, and then probably replace a lot of the others as well. Now, one thing that's quite surprising, you can see these teeth down here. That is, of course, what is engaging the turret drive to rotate the turret around, and a lot of modern tanks still work like this, or at least a variation of this, so quite interesting to see all of that in place. And of course, it's amazing that for a tank like this that's been found in the mud, that all of this is still intact. You would expect most of it to rust away. All right, so just put that part down there, because we do need to remove this box because that is replaceable only, and I think that should be all for now. Let's open up the hatches here. I think the cupola probably needs a bit of resurfacing as well. And we've got a hatch up here that needs rust removal. Okay, and I think for now that seems to be everything. All right. So moving on to the chassis, it looks like everything, well, I don't want to speak too soon, but it looks like mostly everything is pretty done as far as rust removal goes. We do have a couple of pieces here still, but yeah, not as much needing doing on this one, I think. Let's just climb up here and see what we're working with. All right, we got another box here that needs removal, because these are replaceable only. And I'm going to also remove the engine. And then we're going to take the engine out so we can get in under there. Grab my rust removal again. Yeah, there's quite a bit in here. Oh, there's another box. You just put that down. We'll take this off. And the ammo box is down here. We've got an extinguisher that's also replacement only. Fuel tank cap. There's a couple little caps and stuff here that I think are replaceable only. All right, let's get to the rust removing. It's still really satisfying seeing some of these parts just kind of de-rust. There's something really satisfying about it. Okay, so we got these handles here to do as well. Of course, all of these caps. Okay, I think for now that is all we needed to do. And then we'll get on to cleaning up the engine now. Now, of course, I got to remove some of these extra parts here because we do have the belts down here that are replaceable only. Now, usually these are rubber belts, so I don't know how exactly they've rusted. That doesn't seem like it should be possible. But, you know, limitations of the game and so on. Just take everything off of here. Got to see if there's anything else needing doing here. Now, there might be, I don't know if there's an air filter we need to replace here. Usually there is. Grab these ignition off of here too. All right, and that is our block strip down here. So, yeah, the modeling on it is not particularly great. But, yeah, that is what an engine is supposed to kind of look like. Overall, it's not too bad. Let's put everything back on here now. Now, it is slightly worrying that when I took this off, I only took off 3 of the bolts, so that means the other 3 bolts weren't actually in. I didn't know that was a thing, but yeah, it seems like that's probably something I'm gonna have to check for the future too. Alright, now with the vast majority of stuff already being de-rusted, I think it's time that we actually start with the sanding. So I'm gonna do the engine first and get that all nice and cleaned up before I start putting new parts on there. All of that nicely done. And it does look like a brand new engine now, more or less. It is still missing a few parts, but we'll get to that in a second. Okay, and now we've got all the parts that we need, so I'm just gonna start assembling. Get all these brand new, what are they called? Belts. Yeah, I know what they're called. They're called belts. Okay, so we can now put this back into the tank, but before I do that, I think about it, I do want to start sandblasting everything that's here. And just like watch it all become so shiny. Look at all that. Alright, that looks like that side suspension is done. We are still missing a bunch of parts, but I will get that sorted out in a second too. Alrighty, so everything is now sanded, at least on the chassis anyway, and the engine. So we're going to put all that stuff back together, and we're going to start assembling everything. So there's a couple of things that are not put in yet. And then we're going to put the engine in, and we'll see if everything lines up. It looks like it does. Hard to tell though. Let's see. I think everything is mostly done. Into assembly mode. Let's start putting everything in, honestly. Now, so this tank actually is a contract. It's not actually a tank I've found. So it's not one I'm going to be able to keep. However, I have noticed there's a couple of parts that actually do need fixing. But once it's done, which is just reassembling and repairing all of it, I don't have to paint it, I don't think. But we'll see. There's a lot of missing bolts here too, which is definitely not what you want to see. These are the ones in question that do need a good cleanup. Where's my sandblaster? Okay. I just got a bunch of other parts to put on too, including an entire track, actually. We have all of that still to do. A lot of these external parts as well. Now, unfortunately, I think you can kind of see the mistake I've made is that I've ordered the parts to be painted, and that probably wasn't necessary, honestly, but I did it anyway. So the tank's kind of going to be half painted, which is not the best look for it, but at the same time, it's going to look pretty good. And part of me actually does want to fully paint the tank, even though I don't actually need to. So I'm kind of feeling like I might actually just end up doing that. Because let's be honest, it does look better when it's painted. Now, one thing that's interesting to note as well is these Panzer III, or the 3J, 3M, those variants were famously used during the African campaign, although they were still around during the European campaign, of course, after D-Day. So while they were definitely very much outclassed by that point, there were still many of them in service at that point in the war too. So, and that's just down to the sheer numbers of them that were actually made. While it was still more common to see Panzer IVs and Panthers, the Panzer IIIs was definitely still around. In fact, this piece that you're seeing here, these are actually add-on side skirts. And this was something that was very commonly done. It's something that you see even done today with modern MBTs, is these add-on armor panels as a way to sort of keep the tank relevant and competitive on the modern battlefield. As times change, of course, because the main chassis only has a limited amount of armor. The best thing you can do is then add more on afterwards. Alright, now with the chassis mostly done, I'm going to start sandblasting our turret here. Now, the turret definitely has a lot that needs doing. Definitely a lot. And we're going to get that done right now. Now, the one thing about sandblasting is that it does highlight all the pieces that I've missed while doing the rust removal. So, yeah, we're gonna have to go back and forth for sure, but we'll get it done. One thing that's really interesting to see is just how modern German tanks were at that point in time, too. Alright, and the tank is almost complete. Almost. The tank is actually fully assembled, so now I just need to prime and paint the rest of it. And then it's done. I mean, I don't really need to paint it as far as this contract goes, but I want to. So I'm going to. Alright, and here we are in the paint room. So, I think we're gonna go with what colors do we have? Let's go with the paint scheme. We'll go with the desert paint scheme, overall. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Apply that, and let's get to painting. Alright, primer time. Let's make everything red. Now, of course, the color of primer isn't, you know, the worst thing for this time of the year. I mean, it makes it look sort of Christmassy with everything being red. I mean, if you do red and white, definitely. That brings me to another point, actually. Why doesn't Santa just use a tank, then? I mean, if you're going around breaking into people's houses just so you can leave presents for children behind, surely you'd need extra protection. I mean, it doesn't seem like a very dangerous job, especially if you're going to America. Now, we do have a slight issue when it comes to painting the suspension because, of course, the side skirts are already on. So I'm gonna have to take those off, I think. Although it might not let me. I might be in the wrong place to do this. Yeah, so we're just gonna have to make do with it. I mean, it'll just be whatever we can see. Which, to be honest, might not be the worst thing, because, I mean, it's gonna be pretty close, honestly. I've decided to change my mind. I'm gonna start painting it properly. We're gonna get every single little bit of all of this. Because if we're gonna take the time to do any of it, we might as well do it properly. Oh, and we're doing the inside, too. We are definitely doing the inside. I mean, in real life, you probably wouldn't want to, you know, be inside a tank and painting it. I think you'd probably want to take it all apart. But health and safety doesn't exist in games, you know? Like, that's what I tell myself anyway. All right, we're going to switch over to the driver's seat and paint some of the stuff in here. Quite a lot to do, honestly. Quite a lot to do. But to be honest, I don't know if I did this on the Tiger now I think about it. I might not have. But yeah, it is slightly problematic, that. All right, let's get back out. I do need to open up the driver's hatch. So I guess I am going to have to take the turret off. But that's okay. Let's open up the engine hatch. In fact, wait. Can we... Let's remove the hatches. And let's remove everything on top, so that I can open up the engine cover. Although, that does seem to be sort of in the way. You know what? That's fine. Partially disassembled is okay. Where's my paint gun gone? Now, I don't know how many things in here need primering. Actually, that's a thought. Is it, priming or primering when you're putting primer on stuff? What do you guys think? Also decided to remove the side skirts so I can get into all of this lovely stuff down here. Again, we're doing this outside of the paint booth, which is probably not good for our health or the environment or any of that stuff. It's probably not legal if you were to do this in the real world either. Actually, now I think about it, because most shops actually do require like legally they do require proper ventilation. So there you go. It is actually not legal to do it this way. Okay, I think that's as much as we can get done. So I guess time to find out if our paint color choices are any good. It is starting to look really, really, really good. Okay, I kind of like it. And you know what? The sort of desert paint scheme is appropriate. It's kind of like an Africa Corps paint scheme, which is, you know, where a lot of these tanks were originally used during the African campaign. They would have been in desert camouflage, so it's appropriate. I'm starting to wish I could keep this tank now, because it is just, it's quite a good example. I like it. And having worked on it as well, it's like, I want to keep it now. But it is a contract, so we will have to, you know, return it. I don't know, is it legal? Can you steal tanks? Somebody might notice, though, just saying. It is one of those things somebody would inevitably notice if you did it. I don't think it's that easy to get away with. But that is looking very, very good. I like it. I like it a lot. Alright, it's time to move on to the turret. Alright, I think that's almost everything now. It's just a matter of putting it all back together and just seeing if there's anything I've missed. So, assembly mode. Yeah, it's looking pretty good so far anyway. Let's put the hatches back on. There we go. And I guess we can... Oh, I probably should close up everything first. And you know what? That is looking very, very good. I don't think we missed anything. Yeah, I think that's done. Right. That is absolutely lovely. And, you know, it is a mixture of a bunch of different colors and so on. But it's not the worst thing. And I really do like the look of it. So, that is gonna be that. So, let's just clear up this contract now. Yeah, we've done 98.3%, so I have missed a couple of parts. Yeah, okay, there's a couple of things that aren't painted. But you know, it's fine. It's only a couple of things I've missed. A whole bunch of torsion bars. That's fine. I'm just gonna complete that and get, holy, $242,000. That is a lot of money. That tank is gone, and before we head out of here, I want to go to the museum. And of course, we finally unlocked the museum, because here it is. All of the different spots, and right here is our lovely Tiger H1 from the first restoration episode. There it is. Now, we do have one more contract to go and find and extract a tank, and that will probably be in the next video. So if you're excited for that, let me know down in the comments. And of course, don't forget to check out some of my other videos. My name is Panzer. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.